So why am I leaving New York? Guys, I've been barking up this tree for a good 10 years now. 10 years, people have been hearing me say every year, I'm going to leave. I'm leaving next year. I'm going to Florida. I'm going to West Palm Beach. I'm going to Palm Beach because I'm going on vacation again. I'm coming back. When I come back, I'm going to pack everything up and I'm out of here. So for 10 years, I've been talking about that, guys. And it's finally coming to fruition. And I know there's a huge wave of people leaving the Northeast now, moving to Florida. There's some stupid statistic right now where there's something like 1,000 to 1,500 people a day are moving into Florida somewhere around from the Northeast, which is a pretty staggering number. And I think COVID threw this into a huge push. And COVID showed the true colors of this region. And, not to sound in a bad way, I know there's hardcore New Yorkers here, and I'm not here to hurt anybody's feelings. If you're still a New Yorker, you're still a New Yorker, and that's all good. These are my opinions. This is how I feel. That region of this country, I really love the beach. There's people here that love hiking, they love the snow, they love skiing and things like that. So these are my interests and my values. So you can take it or leave it, take it with a grain of salt, but hear me out. And I think there's just a lot of people kind of feel the same way I do. I just went to a car show recently, and it's unbelievable how everybody's kind of on the same page. The average person, they just feel like it's just getting a little nutty here. But I think it's been going on for a very long time, for decades. This area has been the same for a very long time. And the politics here have been the same for decades. And it doesn't look like it's changing anytime soon. Whether you're right or left, I'm not here to go into politics. But, it's been this way for a very long time. And I can't say today that there is a good light at the end of the tunnel to say, yes, this region, stick it out. It's some good things are happening. There's a good horizon coming. There's some really good things gonna change and make it a better place to live. It's very tough to say that, and even anybody I talk to feels the same way. So there's just a lot of stuff that's going on here, and the big thing, like many of the people, reason why they're leaving here, of course, the cost. New York has always been expensive. Now, I live in Rockland County, New York. Rockland County, New York, is in the lower Hudson Valley region. It's still considered downstate. So we have the Hudson River that splits Rockland and Westchester. So those two counties, if you're not from this area, those two counties are in the top 5 counties across the country of the most expensive to live. Taxes here are pretty ridiculous. And when I talk to people down south about what the taxes are here in New York, they think I'm joking. And so when I say I want to move to Florida, there's a lot of people saying, Chris, there's so many people moving to Florida. It's gotten so expensive down there. Still nothing like New York. So if it's getting busier in Florida and more expensive to live in Florida, it's like New York is pretty much following behind. Even though people are leaving, the prices are still pretty ridiculous. So just to give you an example, my shop here, I rent. And I have a 2,000 square foot section here that I rent. I'm in a building that's 4,000 square feet. And the lot that I'm on, my landlord, he's got about, 2 or 3 acres here. And his other shop is about 6,000 square feet. He has a landscaping company, which is very, very successful. Now, if you can run a business here in New York and be successful, you got some spine. You have some skill, because most businesses fail within the first 5 years here. In New York, I can pat myself on the back and say, I've been here 16 years running my business. I'm definitely an international clientele kind of thing. I have more of a global following, so I can take this anywhere. So that did help me to a degree. But if I was an off-the-street business waiting for walk-in business, that's different. It's very difficult here. And so for him, he has a successful landscaping business. He pays $80,000 a year in taxes here just for this commercial piece of property. Some people say, yeah, but Chris, that's New York. What do you expect? Yada, yada. But I'll get into that in a second. And then when it comes to homes, Give you an example. Something that's, say, 1,900 square foot, 1,800 square feet, up to, say, 3,000 square feet, you'll probably pay anywhere between $20,000 and over $30,000 a year in taxes, property taxes, which is absurd. And you don't even have an acre of property. And you still got to pay for your own garbage. So it's stuff like that where, you could say, okay, it's expensive because it must look beautiful. It must be, just a stunning place to look at. And the roads must be nice. Yeah. I'll tell you, I started traveling a little more often about, say, 15 years ago. I had family from Brooklyn that moved to Charlotte, right outside Charlotte, North Carolina. When I started visiting them and going back and forth to visit my grandmother who was with them, I'm telling you, and I know it's a wave of people moving there, so they're building a lot and everything looks new. But man, it's so pleasant to the eye to see nice roads, nice sidewalks, nice guardrails along the roads, nice landscaping and presentation beyond the guardrails. Me, I have a shop here. I restore vintage Volkswagen Beetles. You guys know this, my followers. If you're new to this channel, that's what I do for a living. I restore VW Beetles for people, and I ship them across the world. And to visit some of these places and to see some of the landscapings and the presentation that they put and the effort that they put to make the place look so nice. And the roads make sense. The plotting makes sense. Here in New York, they plot things in spots, businesses and homes in spots. Like, why would you put a house there? Why would you put a business over there? What? Things just don't make sense. So much here. But I guess it's old. So that really got to me. So South Carolina, seen that. I've had friends that moved to Charleston. They say it's beautiful there. Tennessee, Texas, Florida, of course. Then I started going back and forth to Florida, West Palm Beach. So I started visiting there and seeing the beaches and seeing the roads. Guys, look at these roads. Look how manicured these roads are. This is just an example. And then I'm going to show you the roads here in this Northeast area, this Hudson Valley region, right outside New York City. And you're going to start to scratch your head. So I was flying back and forth to these places and then coming back home and looking around and saying, what in the hell am I doing here? So I went to school for art, cartooning, and filmmaking. I wasn't a businessman. But as time went on, as the 16 years went on, I started becoming better at looking at my numbers and listening to financial gurus online and stuff and learning this stuff. I didn't learn this in school. I had to learn it on my own. I have no debt. I've never been late on payments. I've never defaulted on anything. I'm always on time. To operate a business here in New York is very costly. At the end of the year, I would say, wow, I paid everything off. I got through this year. We had a good year. But man, so much money went out. So much of your hard-earned money goes out. There's no incentive to run a business here.
So my whole point is there are go-to states and there's no-go states. And no-go states right now are New York, New Jersey, Massachusetts, California. You cannot invest in those places. They are no longer investable.
In New York, they give you no incentive. If you ever looked up this region, New York, New Jersey, I put in a Google search, best states to run a business. New York and New Jersey are ranked 48th and 47th in the country. They're like the worst. Hawaii was number 50. They're at the bottom of the union, the best places to run a business. And yet you think there's still an old school mindset here that this is the place to come to make money. This was the brainwash. This is what we were taught growing up. From family, from friends, from schools. Stay in New York. This is the opportunity. The culture. The financial district, you got Broadway, the opportunities here. So I was a filmmaker for 10 years. I wrote, directed, shot, produced, and edited my own independent films. I did about 10 films. I got films into Tribeca Film Festival. I've gone out to California for film festivals out there. And I even sold an action film that I did, an hour and 40-minute action film that I wrote, directed, and produced myself. And it went international, and it was dubbed in different languages. It was called The Agent. So if you actually look it up on IMDb, you'll see The Agent. Yeah, I wanted to be near New York because I used to go down to the city and meet up with a film group. That has its draw. So there's still, of course, industries here or fields that you want to get into that are still that will still work for you here. But now with the internet age and stuff and more people wanting to work from home and be remote, you really don't need New York to make money anymore. Now, I realized that 15 years ago when I started this business because I started it on eBay. And when I went to North Carolina, I would say to myself, man, I could do this down here. And they were very receptive to me to move down there. Some of these places offered me money to ship. They would pay for my shipping costs, and they would give me months free rent just to get up and going. You don't see that here in New York. They just don't give it to you. And the more successful you are here, it seems like the more they want. And it's just like at the end of the year, you're paying more money and you're paying for more things, and there's more cost to everything. And after a while, guys, it's draining, it's drowning, So, and let's put some other things into perspective on top of the cost to live here. So I value time, quality of life as well. To me, the most successful thing in life for me is how long I live and how healthy I am. And I'll get into real quick what really kicked me over the edge to finally get out of here. I came into a health condition that I found out about that I've had for about 15 or 20 years. And that was the big kicker for me to finally say, all right, I'm out of here. Life is too short. There's hustle and bustle here. New York is the so-called rat race state. Like, you're hustling. You're constantly hustling here. And when you speak to many people here, and I got great friends here, great friends and family. I love everybody that I've met. And I know New Yorkers have that so-called attitude problem that everyone thinks, but can you actually blame them? Which the way you have to operate here. When you come, if I bump into a friend of mine at the supermarket, say, hey, how's everything going? Same shit, different day. That's the attitude all the time. There's no one saying, God, I got to tell my family members and friends to come visit. This is a great place. Nobody's saying that, especially Rockland County here. I mean, I don't, Rockland, if you came here and visited, and if you didn't know about the tax situation or anything like that, you might come here and say, okay, it's an okay place. Busted up roads, busted up guardrails, 100-year-old technology on the roads, guys. Look at this stuff. I can't stand these utility poles, these telephone poles, whatever you want to call them, the busted up asphalt, the busted up guardrails, the landscaping beyond the guardrails is absolute garbage. There is no eye for presentation here. There's nothing about chopping shrubbery down. Guys, there's still trees uprooted from Hurricane Sandy. Uprooted beyond these guardrails, and nobody's chopping the wood up. Nobody's taking anything down or taking it away or trimming things to make it look presentable on these roads. Now, again, some of you might say, well, Chris, I have that here where I live. Probably across this country, there's many places where they don't keep up with the infrastructure. I get it. But when you live in a place that charges you a premium, you would think this would be looking somewhat like West Palm Beach. And you see the attention to the cleanliness and the detail and the manicured landscaping, the presentation. And I know that's a tourist spot, but I even saw it in North Carolina. People send me video from Savannah, Georgia. You can go online to YouTube now and see these drive-thrus. There's channels that just drive through some of the nicest areas of the country. Montana. I talk to truckers that deliver me, cars and ship cars to me. Most of the time when I ask them what are the most beautiful areas of the country you've ever visited, a lot of them say Montana and a lot of them say North Carolina. There is an attention to that. And now why are they able to do that in those states for less than here? So it kind of wanes on me after a while, being here for 46 years, driving these same roads. There's these arteries here. You got the New York State Thruway, the Garden State Parkway going to Jersey, 202, 303, 304, 9W, which is a long road that can go all the way upstate to New York. There's issues with these roads, and they're busted up, and I can't stand that they just patch them. I see the road crew out there, they're patching it with asphalt. They maybe roll over it with a steamroller, pat it down with a few shovels, and for one good measure, step on it with your foot. And then 2 weeks later, it's all busted up again, and you're driving through a crater. It's like driving on the surface of the moon. And you pay a lot for it. And what else do you pay a lot for here? Probably 6 months of indoor life. When I finally started putting my head together here, again, time is a valuable asset to me. If time is very valuable to me, it's probably more valuable than money even, it is everything. And when you see that half of your life is spent indoors in a place that's primarily gray skies, overcast skies, rain, wind, ice, snow, 0 degrees in January, 13 below with the wind chill, Stuff like that start to get to me after seeing and traveling to other places finally. I didn't travel much when I was younger, and again, there was like this brainwash in the beginning to say this is the place to be, and it probably was. New York, everyone said we're ahead of the curve, we got better food here, the better culture. I think that's all BS. In today's day, that's a 30-year-old, stereotypical 40-year-old, even longer maybe. Oh, the South is slower. The South is, they're not up to speed. Baloney. I mean, I come from a house of cooks. My mom's all Sicilian, off the boat. And in North Carolina, when I go down there, I haven't had a bad meal. Maybe once or twice. Florida, it's been phenomenal. There's so many New Yorkers that have moved down there and have opened up shop. Even supermarkets, the hot water bagels, the pizza, it's all getting better. And if anything, it's going to get better as time goes on because of the influx of people moving there. So the weather here actually kind of sucks, guys. I mean, the fall is beautiful. I love the colors. My fall foliage cruise that we do every year, and I'm still doing the fall foliage cruise, guys, so I'm going to be flying up for that. I'm not going to stop that. The fall is probably one of my favorite time of the year, but it's such a short-lived moment, short-lived time here in good weather. So we always had to race during the summertime to go to the beach. And then the Jersey Shore, it's okay. There's nice spots at the Jersey Shore, no doubt. But go see the waters at the West Palm Beach or Palm Beach Gardens or Delray or Boca, and you see it's blue Caribbean water and it's white sand. It's just gorgeous the way they present the beach area. And you come back here, it's night and day. And if you even look up on Google, this area of the world, this Northeast, I think only gets 90 to 100 days of full sun every year. And sun is health. I don't know if you guys realize this. And the older you get, the more you need sun. So you get a very short life here with sun. When after the holidays are over and you get a little spritz of snow during the holidays, okay, you're okay with that. But once January, February, March, even into April, and a lot of times even into May, March is a suck wind month. Ice, wind, rain, snow. You can get a blizzard in March. Just when you're trying to get out of the winter, springtime hits, you don't have spring. So it really starts in November. So you have a very long stretch of just gray days, cold, rushing to your car, rushing to get in and warm up, that kind of thing. And to me, in the end, you pay a lot for that. So I'm an outdoors person, I think by nature. Some people, again, they're okay with being indoors. They're okay with the winter, and that's fine. There's still hardcore New Yorkers here, and they still believe that this is the place to be. And that might be okay. That might be for you. But for me, that beach sold me, and the way the presentation was on their surroundings and their environment and the access to get to places easier than here. It's complicated to get to Manhattan. You pay a lot of money to live in an area and you don't see the upgrades. You don't see the progression and the forward movement to improve the area. It's ancient here. And we don't even have a speed train here. And we recently had a fire here in Congress. You could actually look it up. There was a brush fire, and we had some dry days, and a freight train came through, and I think some of the wheels on the train froze up and were sparking, and so ignited the brush around the area. And so it ignited trees and stuff along the tracks for miles through towns. And there's an area on this road called 9W, which is a pitiful road, and these trees burned by the road. And so all they did was they kind of just cut the bad parts off of the tree and just left the burnt tree there. And they'll probably just leave them. They're not going to do anything about it. And it's just something wrong with that. Why is there nobody saying, we really should clean this area. Let's make Rockland beautiful. You see signs around Rockland County, New York. Hey, make Rockland beautiful. Jesus. There's nice areas of Rockland, don't get me wrong. And there's nice homes, people have a good living here, and, there's sections. But at best, it's mediocre. So if you came from an outside area and you looked at this area, you say, it's okay. But not when you pay this amount of money. It's just stupid. If there's anything I left out about this region or anything you want to chime in on, if I'm missing something on the money-wise or the financial things of this state, and, maybe I'm missing something why, I don't know, they don't fix this or that or do anything with the infrastructure, just please tell me. I'm not someone that's in on all that behind the scenes kind of thing. But that's it. I'm out, and a new chapter in life, new bug life down in Florida. And yeah, I'll speak to you soon.